Heavy downpour on Wednesday, accompanied by flooding, wreaked havoc in different parts of Lagos metropolis, causing traffic gridlock across the state and disrupting economic activities in Nigeria's commercial center. Places like Iyanoworo, Oshodi, Lekki, Ikeja, Egbeda, Mushin, and Gbagada were flooded on Wednesday morning. Some Lagos residents lamented restricted movement and crippled activities due to the flooding witnessed in the state following persistent rainfall. And to some others, it was a time to make money at the rate of 200 naira only.
200 crossing, 200 crossing, 200 crossing. Ọjọ́ people.
So no road. Everywhere.
Reacting to the flood in a post on his X handle, the Lagos State Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, said that a team from the ministry has been deployed to monitor and clear the flash flood at the Olopomeji section of Iyanoworo. Wahab, who thanked motorists for their patience and understanding, noted that the road is now free from rainwater. Joining us now on the morning show, as we take a look at the flooding situation in Lagos State and what the state government is doing to ensure that adequate measures are put in place to avert a reoccurrence. Knowing fully well that the rainy season is upon us, is Tokunbo Philip Wahab, Lagos State Honorable Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us. Well, Commissioner, let me start with this question. Someone wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter, yesterday, that, okay, what has now happened to the demolition of Igbo houses and structures in Lagos State? And your response was that, in fact, the Lagos State government is going to demolish more houses, given the fact that, people have built houses on drainages and that the person could continue with his ethnic baiting, that you are ready for them. Is demolition of buildings the issue? How many houses can the Lagos State government demolish? Now that we have seen that it's not just a selected area. Even Osapa, London was flooded. Even Ikoyi was flooded yesterday. Is the Lagos State government going to demolish the whole of Lagos, with NIMET now predicting that it will in fact get worse because there will be heavy rainfall Monday to Wednesday? That's what the Nigerian Meteorological Agency has told us. That you are just preaching demolition. Are there other things to consider beyond demolishing houses?
Thank you very much, Doctor, and good morning, Lagosians. My first speech is to apologize to Lagosians for the disruption caused by nature yesterday. We had a 10-hour non-stop rain, and the tidal level was up. So the tidal level for the lagoon and the sea was up to the extent that the rainwater was not able to discharge for about 1 or 2 hours into the lagoon and the sea. So that was what happened as per the island. For the tweets or the message on the X handle, my position to them is, we're not demolishing. We're removing contraventions in areas that are prone to flooding and those that have built on the right of way for the canal primary or secondary collector. Doctor, let me flash back a bit. In October last year, there's a system 44 that runs from Ogombo, Lekki Phase 2, into the Ikota Creek. They served them notices. There were 12 villages that were being flooded every year. And what we had to do was to remove those contraventions and restore the right of way and award the contract, which is being done now. And that decongested that whole neighborhood as we speak. For Sapa, London, and Agogi, I'm glad you're showing this video. There are 2 collectors serving them. There's a primary channel that discharges through Chevron Road to the lagoon, and then the secondary collector. What happened at Agogi is because, as we speak, the low line of Agogi is this area. And after the rain stops, it will take like 2-3 hours for that water to recede into the collector. They had development. They had a tertiary system, drainage system in front of their houses. But the collector is down the road. So we were there last week, Thursday, and we said the solution to this problem would be for us to put a secondary collector. The development on Agugi Road has outweighed the tertiary drainage system that was put in place by the local government. So the secondary collector will now discharge into the primary collector we have that will discharge into the lagoon through the Chevron axis. Don't forget, sir, Agugi or Sakpa, they are low-lying areas. And for low-lying areas abutted by the Atlantic or the sea or the lagoon, when the tidal wave is up, it won't discharge early enough. I don't do dog whistling. For whoever thinks people in government will choose to remove those contraventions because it suits us to do it, no. We do them out of exigency and for overriding public interest. For Ikoyi, for VI, for Lekki 1, within 1 hour or 2 hours, the water had gone and it receded because the creek behind, or the 5 Cowrie Creek, was taking the water afterwards, and all the collectors were working effectively. We had cleaned them all year round. For those on the upland of Lagos, Ikeja, Alimosho, Agege, same thing happened. Once the rain stopped, within 1 or 2 hours, the water moved away. Flash floods are natural, Dr. Abati. Flash floods are flash because they are flash flooding. They are ponding. In the UK, if the UK witnessed what we witnessed yesterday for 10 hours, non-stop rain, it will flood. But infrastructures in place will take the water away and discharge it to River Thames most times. Same thing for Netherlands. Same thing for Japan. For 2-3 weeks now, Florida has been going through flooding. Serious flooding. That's flooding. It's not flash flooding. Ours, by 10:30, 11, doctor, the water had gone away. Olopomeji was the same thing. Olopomeji would discharge downstream into the lagoon. So a side of it, and we had our emergency team on ground. And at this point, I'll thank the governor, thank the deputy, and thank those 518 men of EFAG, the emergency flood abatement gang, that had been in place since the time of my predecessor, Mr. Tunji Bello. They were fully on ground since 4 a.m. at all our dark spots. We know the dark spots in the States.
Okay, let me step in at this stage because it comes across, all your points are duly noted, but it almost comes across as though there's still an element of poor planning because the research has been available for many years that climate change is going to cause the levels of the Atlantic to erode the shoreline by, is it 4 meters per year that the research says. We know that the levels of the lagoon are going to rise in and we know that rainfall is going to arise. Climate change is not a new conversation. So over these years, why has nothing been done? Because we can't say that it's all because of development, even if it is flash flooding. What plan was put in place to balance out the fact?
Let me explain it to you. You can't say Lagos is not well planned. Lagos has a master plan for drainage, like master plan for transport and every other thing. If you conversant with Lagos, some years ago, VI was almost submerged by the Atlantic. The Great Wall of Lagos was built, and today we have one of the biggest real estate development in Africa called the Atlantic. That Great Wall saved the whole of VI and even Ikoyi by extension, because if it had taken VI, it's a matter of time. Now, for me, you see, when it comes to things that have to do with nature and climate change and global warming, I preach it every time. I know it's real. We can't behave the ostrich. We can't say that global warming is not real when you can see the amount of heat generated when it's not raining, and then the flood or the downpour that comes down when it's raining. That is a simple way of explaining global warming. Excess heat, excess downpour, or when it's summer, it's extremely hot, and when it's winter, it's extremely cold. Those are global warming related issues. Lagos is a coastal state. Lagos is a low-lying state, maybe a meter above sea level. By so doing, it shows that Lagos is having its own existential question or challenges. But as a people, how are we relating with the environment? That's the question we should ask. Yesterday, they sent us a picture of a couple that came out with their dustbin around Ikate in Itire, and they poured everything to the drainage system when it was raining. The Nigerians blew the whistle, and we sent Loma down there to track them. How do you want the drainage system to be clean if you pour your dirt into it? It shows we are not taking ownership as a people. The first step is let us take ownership. When the Bible says to you, cleanliness is next to godliness, it tells you you must be clean to come before God. Why can't you be clean and clean your environment up? So it's not about not planning. It's about, even with the best of plans, with the best and the most resilient infrastructure you can put in place, when it's nature, all you can do is to mitigate and push back. So when you see us removing those contraventions like we did at Mende, like we did at Lekki, like we did in Ikoyi, like we did even in Banana Island, and Parkview, and Ikeja and Alimosho, is to create the infrastructure and let water have its natural paths to discharge.
So I want to ask a couple of things. And I also want to pivot towards what Vimbai said. You said they are properly planned. I don't think Lagos is properly planned enough, even with the drainage and all of this. And I'm going to give you some of the points I'm going to enunciate. What is the state of these collection points as we speak all over Lagos? What's the integrity and the fidelity of all of these collection points that is well mapped out? Because I have spoken to people, top engineers that were part of those that planned this collection point and built Lagos in the 60s and 70s from Costain, and they say most of those collection points they built are no longer there. Some of them have been blocked. Also, I give you instances of ones that have been blocked. If you go to around Kefi Street, off Kefi Street, the first street off Kefi Street, behind that big shopping complex, there's a big collection point there that is supposed to go and check the dump in that place now as we speak. I don't know if you've gone there recently. Yeah, go and check it. It's crazy. All sorts of human effluence and everything. So these are supposed to be the big collection points across Ikoyi. That's number one. Secondly, you also talked about low line level, water receding and all of that, and people taking responsibility. It is not in every sane environment that people take responsibility, and that's why we have the state government coming. What is the alert system, the flood preemptive system in place in Lagos that once tidal waves start to go up, there's an alert system that calculates the tidal wave going up, and you guys can disseminate to us in the media so that let's work together as regards it. And I also like to see what the control room for environment looks like. All of this flood warning system, you should have a big control center, because that's what we call planning.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
I'm familiar with the Kefi Streets you mentioned.
Yeah.
And I know we were there like a couple of times, and we opened it up. There are two collectors in Ikoyi off Awolowo Road. You have that of Kefi and you have that of Anti-Ayo.
Yeah.
Down. Both of them we opened up. In fact, before I became the Commissioner for Environment, in September last year, the whole of Dona Barracks used to flood. The whole of that axis used to flood. So when we came in, we tracked it and we noticed what you said. And we opened it from behind Dona Barracks. The barracks that was there, we opened it from the Mami Market down through Tasty Fried Chicken, down to 5 Cowrie. And the same thing we did for Anti-Ayo Collector. So we have opened it up. That's why you can't find flood on this axis of Ikoyi. Now, at the back end of it, you have the Bank Road Collector. The Bank Road Collector, we are working on it, and it's discharging through the golf course of Ikoyi Club.
But that one is still very blocked. If you, the human effluent, the feces, yuck, it's dirty in there.
Rufai, we had opened it up.
Okay.
And that's why you can't experience flooding in this part of Ikoyi. You see, it's easier for people to say these things were abandoned. But Lagos of the 60s, 70s is different from the Lagos of now. What's the size of Lagos? 3,577 square kilometers of land.
Less than 4,000 square kilometers.
Less than 4,000. Lagos is housing 22 million people in this small space. And they come in daily to stay. And they come in for prosperity. That's Lagos. However, what we are saying is we are building resilient infrastructure. We keep building. And I'm glad my brother in the Ministry of Fiscal Planning and Urban Development and his colleague, the SA on Urban Development and EGIS, and the Ministry of Environment and my colleague in the Ministry, SA on Environment, we're doing a collaborative work. Yes, people will go ahead and say they want to go and reclaim wetland. We've said, no, you can't reclaim wetland. Wetland are natural sponge that takes water.
That mops water, yeah.
And then they discharge when everything is fine. And that's why we're pushing back. And I'm also glad we're saying to them, you can't continue to do reclamation without having your EIA in place. For instance, you want to go and reclaim around VGC. And we're saying to you, you can't reclaim 200 meters to the next island.
Yeah.
It's standard. We are stopping all these activities. We're not giving them approvals. Are they pushing back? Yes, they will push back because they are profiteers.
Okay, so the next question I asked was about a hub, a center, where as tidal waves go on, it's
I'm going to answer that. That's the third question.
Yeah, can we have all of that? And also there's this issue of green spaces. You know that issue. I think I brought it to the fore before.
You did.
That green space that they are not building on. Guess what happened?
Now,
Just we weren't close to Nord Motors. The people came there again
let me answer you.
with full force, and they want to continue to build on the green spaces.
Let me answer you. And I'm saying to Nigerians, see something, say something. We won't be everywhere as a government. We got a message from concerned Nigerians that, look, there's a green veg what it's about to build on. And we sent in the government officials at last park, Mrs. Kupola and her team, and then we give them the backup for the enforcement team. And they went there, they stopped them on their track. We took their equipment away, and we said, you can't build. They had gone around everywhere, and all I'm saying is, do you know it's a green veg or not? You can't build on a green veg.
They brought Mopo back with big men, and they are harassing people there again.
Rufai, bringing Mopo, have they been able to build? Somebody is saying to them, you can't build.
Okay.
We put a stop work order. They can't even have approval, Dr. Abati, because we've said to them, you can't do any outings anymore. And I'm glad you can attest to that they are not able to build for months.
Commissioner, let's look at the human angle part of it. When there was flooding yesterday, some people took advantage. They began to run businesses. In some parts, we were told bridges were created for people. And then Loma officials, environment enforcement agents were sent out to go and arrest those people who were trying to help others. And we have had reports that they will charge them to court, including people who were backing other people to take them through the flood.
They're not the ones that were arrested, sir.
The people who setting bridges.
No, the ones that were arrested were the ones that trade fair, that stop people from using the pedestrian bridge, collecting 100 naira per person. That was the information we got, and we sent them to investigate. They caught them right on their track. They were not the ones that were carrying people. There's a pedestrian bridge built by the state government at trade fair. So these 4 guys, 5 of them actually, and their green leader, stood at the bottom, at the tail of the bridge, asking Lagosians to pay 100 naira to use the bridge to cross to the other side. I said, this is not fair. And we took them and they admitted to that. We can't keep them in our custody. Let the judiciary do its course. And we are sending a very strong message, Doctor, that it's only an Obesian state that you have lawlessness and life will not become nasty, brutish or short. Lagos and Obesian is a state governed by laws, and we are going to enforce those laws. Why and who gave you the authority to charge Lagosians for trying to use a pedestrian bridge during the rainy season? Where is our humanity, for God's sake? You just stood there, 4 of them, armed, in broad daylight. And they were the ones that were taken away, sir.
Okay,
Point of correction.
I get your point about the people breaking the law. But what of the people who try to turn the thing into an attack trade and make brisk business? Ferrying people across by carrying them on their backs and people setting up their own bridges.
There's nothing illegal in that, Doctor.
Okay.
We won't discuss
because the flooding will happen again. So maybe some of us too should go out and carry people. Even by, if you cannot cross the road, I hope I have enough energy to back you and carry you and collect money.
Now, do we have a service center for flood? Not just flood. Yes, we monitor the water level also. What we've not been able to do well, and I think I'm going to take that away from here, is connect with the media ahead of time.
Yeah.
It is with those notices and the water level that we are able to serve all those neighboring communities on the low-lying areas of the state to live on time. But like you said, I'll take it away from here. We have to push this out to the media ahead of time so they know where we are on that.
I've seen the statement that was shared yesterday by Lagos State, which is encouraging people in low-lying areas to move to higher ground. So 2 questions from that. What are the highest risk areas at the moment? And secondly, when you're asking people to move to higher ground, where are people going? Are you creating provision? I understand. Are you creating provisions for places where people can take cover? Because, you know, where are we sending you? People are leaving their homes, granted, but where do they go?
Now, you see, there are low-lying areas in the state that are very exposed. Agility and the Lagos kind of...
These are the high-risk areas.
Yeah, very, very high risk. Those areas are prone to this. And we have said to them over time, kindly move out of these places. If you are in need of shelter, we can move you to our IDP camps.
Okay, the IDP camps.
Yes, we do have those ones fully furnished, and it's a temporary movement. But you see, people are usually attached to their homes. That's what we found out. Emotionally attached to those spaces. And we say to them, your life matters a lot to the state than these properties you're holding on to. So that's what we're doing, and that campaign we are ramping up. But like Rufai said, we need to push out more information with respect to these alerts. To the Russians.
In fact, can you even, another thing I want to, let me press further. Can you invite us in the media? Let's come and see your flood monitoring system office, where we are seeing all your big cameras, your computers and laptop. We say, okay, channel 1, channel 2, channel 3. You should have surveillance cameras on all the channels and most of the drainage. It should be a big rack center, monitoring center. So that system is also connected to the media, also connected to the local government, and you are feeding. Then you put AI in the middle of it. So as you are tracking data from all the local governments or their desk and everything, feeding it to an AI system, it's popping up on your computer system, it's popping up as feelers to the media. We want to work with you on this. It's our city, Ekowani.
Rufai, we are really, really ready to work with anybody that will help Lagos. And for the green areas...
These have cost implications.
No, Dr. Abati, cost implications...
Can we compare that to the flood, cost implication of the flood?
So I agree with him to an extent. Now, it's a meeting point we have to now get to. What will be the standard for this? Well, he's made a very valid point, and we are going to work with that.
The green area.
No, the green area.
People are not still content. In fact, as we were talking, they sent me another message. They say you've tried to stop them truly. But these people are powerful people. Powerful.
You can't be powerful.
And you fight them alone?
Yeah, I'm just an individual. It's
Very
a government.
Okay.
You can't be bigger than the government.
Good.
When the government said it's a green veg, if they are so powerful, they will have been building for the past 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
But we said you can't build on the green veg. They have pushed back. Look, these things have implications also. If you allow one, you must allow the others on that corridor. And we won't start what we can't finish. It will become a bad precedent for the state if you allow people build on green veg areas. You see, you always have powerful people that want to breach the laws all over the world. In the UK, in the US, anywhere in the world. The difference is, once they know there are consequences, they back off. And we must start attaching consequences for every bad behavior. Lagos will not allow any form of anyhowness anymore. Any brazen act, you're going to meet your consequences.
Okay.
All right, but let me just very quickly. We're in the middle of a cholera outbreak, and we know that water and cholera, water is a carrier of cholera. The implications of this flood, prevention measures as well, because we know that once there's flooding, cholera will spread faster. So, what's being done around that?
Very good question. For cholera is a cause and effect. Lagos has 1/3 of its land as water. Lagos does have Iju, Adio 1, Adio 2, Ishasi. And then we have 48 mini and micro water works. Lagos is producing about less than our capacity in water production. So we're going to take ownership of that. And I'm glad to say to this house, maybe you have to also invite the new MD of Lagos Water Corporation. There's a roadmap to get water out at full capacity by the end of this year. What we did, and what this governor did that people didn't see, is signing off on the wash policy for the state. Without a wash policy, that's a water and hygiene policy, no investor will come and invest in that ecosystem. The governor did undertake to sign it at COP28, and a month later he did sign and approve it, and the ESCO approved it. Today, USAID is pumping over $45 million into that ecosystem. They've taken about 6 water works. WaterAid is doing the same thing. The state government is also doing the same thing for the main water works. So it's a matter of time. But it goes beyond that. Go to the issue of sanitary. That's our wastewater. We've said to them, there's a JV we signed with, maybe people we signed with Jospong. It's a Ghanaian company. And it's just to come and revamp and invest more. Lagos has grown bigger than those infrastructure we had in place 10, even 2-3 years ago. So we've done that. So for me, I'm glad my Egbon, the Commissioner for Health in Lagos State, Professor Abayomi, is taking the surveillance very seriously, working with my ministry and then working with other agencies to say, okay, these are the issues we found out. Boreholes were contaminated, we're chlorinating them for them around the state. And we're now taking water from the waterworks to go and discharge for those neighborhoods. And they are short-term measures. Medium term is to fix those
The unfortunate
waterworks.
thing is that the next governor of Lagos, whoever he is, we still have to deal with this same problem.
Because Lagos is a growing economy and a growing society.
Well, it's not about growing economy. Even as it is, the problem, we still have to deal with it perennially. We're just looking for improvements, if possible.
Okay,
Definitely
please,
possible.
real quickly, for the sake of new home buyers, and this is a suggestion and a question, can you get a portal that will show them if the house they bought is not on drainage, so that they will not buy the house, developer will lie to them, and you come and demolish. You can also make money for that portal. You can have a quick check.
There's a portal, the
Okay.
EGIS portal.
So
is up and running.
what's the
And
website? Please just tell them the
I
website.
don't have it at hand,
so that they
I know
can
that
check if the home they are buying or the one they are selling
Okay.
is on drainage.
There is a portal.
Honourable Commissioner, this has been a
Thank you,
fantastic
ma'am.
conversation.
But before I go, let me also say
In
this to
30
Lagosians.
seconds, please.
Please, Lagosians, we are sorry for what happened yesterday. They were not intended, nature took its course. Take ownership, see something, say something, and rest assured we are here to serve you. Thank you very much.
All right, Tokunbo Wahab, Lagos State Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources. Thank you so much for your time today.